Hey, everybody, welcome in here, pack in here. This is like the Brady Bunch of the metaverse. So everybody move in, squeeze in, get real tight. But for those of you who don't like people within your inner circle, this is fantastic, right? So as we get started, everybody just kind of take a deep breath. We're here. It's probably the middle of your day. You're probably just been hustling around. So as we get going, we'll get into kind of the etiquette of how today is going to go overall. So everybody's going to be muted except for the speakers. You go ahead and advance to the next slide. Whoever's got control here. And again, you'll have a chance. You can use the chat function to post your LinkedIn. Go ahead and do any networking on the side there, any side conversations, what have you. If you have questions for the individual presenters, you can go ahead and put it in there. It might end up getting lost, but you'll eventually get all the information and we'll get you in touch with the folks that you really want to get in touch with here. Let's see. So as far as you'll be getting a form after this. That again will let you actually connect. So thank you for those being here. It looks like we've got almost 75 people in the room. That is awesome in the virtual world. Welcome again. And let's see. So let's go ahead and get into this and start meeting some of the folks that are here. And I feel like the Oprah of clean tech and sustainability right now with like everybody. This is so awesome. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about me and my background. You can find me on LinkedIn. But what I will kind of tell you about is my connection to WCS. And I was with Virtue Lab for about 8 years. Virtue Lab will be talking a little bit later today. But we became a sponsor years ago of Lisa and WCS before the pandemic even. We were that cool. And so I was able to be involved on that level and from an organizational level, especially those of you that are part of that moving, shaking, accelerator type space that we'll be hearing from a lot of folks today. We have very specific missions and kind of are sometimes boxed in a little bit, and we want to be able to do more. And sponsorship of networks and other organizations like this was a way, at least for then, and hopefully for you, it's a way to kind of expand outside that box. So that was a really great connection. And then me on an individual level with my role within the organization, there was still things that I wanted to be able to do and I didn't have the time. And so volunteering for WCS Network and other networks that I'm a part of is a great way to expand that and get out and do that. And so that kind of brings me to the reverse pitch and why I wanted to do it. Virtue Lab is here, obviously, and then I've moved on to Global Tech Transfer Group. And but this is still, it's a way this needs to be reached out. I feel very strongly, obviously, about letting founders and business leaders kind of calm down a little bit and get out of the hot seat. So here you are. But first, I do want to give some time. So again, kind of back to that sponsorship and then getting into the space, I want to introduce Paige. With Sea Change. She's sponsoring this event. So thank you very much, Paige. And Paige, let's go ahead and get you up here. And can you give us a few minutes? Tell us about the work that you're doing.
Great. Thank you, Tricia. I really appreciate it. First of all, we are thrilled to be sponsoring this WCS event. We're longtime supporters of this fantastic organization and many of their programs. Second most important thing is if you are not currently involved with this organization, I recommend you seriously consider it today. It's really active and does so many things for our community. Just a little bit about me. I started in this industry as a search professional when I originally founded Intertech Search Partners in 2008. Today, that brand, sorry, I have a frog in my throat. Today, that brand has evolved into Sea Change, which provides talent, advisory, intelligence, and search to climate-focused companies. And we have just never been more bullish on this market. There's clearly an impressive group of investors and corporates that are interested and have the capital to invest to scale up technologies in the space. And obviously, many of them are represented here. That said, our view is technology and capital alone can't solve this climate crisis. Our collective success is going to require an ecosystem of talented and mission-driven people to drive a sea change in the most challenging sectors to decarbonize. And unfortunately, this reality may end up being the biggest limiting factor in our success over the next decade. As you all know, the IRA and other investments flooding into the space are expected to create more than 9 million jobs over the next 10 years. Green jobs are growing 25% faster than skills, and there is a significant diversity gap still. So the end point here is legacy recruiting models won't get us there. We need a systems thinking approach to talent. Reactive recruiting is really a dead process, and in its place, we think that proactive talent strategies are going to be critical to success for both large companies as well as startups. Managing execution risk, as many of the investors know here, is increasingly a focus and a critical factor in their investment decisions. Today, we partner with climate-focused innovators, investors, and corporates and help them manage that execution risk around their talent. We don't consider ourselves a traditional search firm. We consider ourselves a talent venture company. We're partners that are deeply, deeply committed to solving the climate crisis one person at a time. And we have worked with many of the investors that are here in some of their portfolio companies. So thanks so much for the time. We're really excited about this, and let the pitches begin.
Oh, you'd think I'd figure out the mute thing by now. So yeah, that's great lineup, and we need everybody. There's so much important work needing to be done these days, and it takes kind of all of us from organizational level down to individuals. And so this was just, again, a really great way to invite all of the enablers, the catalysts, the inventors, all to this space. So thank you. And if we were in person, founders, leaders, this is for you. Sit down. I would bring you typically a cup of tea, or maybe for some of you, it's wine time. I don't know. Well, let's get into it. Lisa from WCS, tell us more about WCS.
Hi, Trisha. Thank you so much. And thank you, Paige, for being our sponsor. And thank you all for being here, because we're all busy. We all have very hectic lives. We all have lots of things we want to accomplish, especially to get us to those 2030 goals. And we could be anywhere, and we're here. So thank you for taking time to spend it with us today. Like Trisha said, I'm the founder of Women in Clean Tech and Sustainability. That's my hobby, how I give back. And at WCS, we're all volunteers here, except for a small portion of some paid staff. So really everything you see at WCS is born out of passion that people have to build our industry and support everybody in their careers, whether it's your standard job, job, professional experience, or entrepreneurship. I also do public relations for companies in this space with Technica Communications, and I have a podcast, which is my creative outlet, the Earthlings podcast. So if we talk about WCS specifically, and I think we have some slides here, we are focused on supporting all genders in their careers in this space: climate tech, clean tech, energy transition, mobility, agriculture, sustainability, biomimicry, waste, all of it. We're here for all those people. And we do it in a variety of different ways. Events such as this, which is actually more of a program, because I think Trisha is thinking about doing this again in a couple of months, like 6 months. We also have a couple of programs. We have this entrepreneurship program specifically where we support mentorship for entrepreneurs, mentorship for people building their professional careers. We have executive leadership workshops. We have a pitch competition that was the first in the United States for women specifically in this space back in 2018 when we started it. WCS Talks is our big flagship conference. So you can see we do a lot of stuff here to support a variety of different people who are focused on the work that we're all doing collectively for our future. Here's some events that you might have interest in. We're going to focus on sustainable healthcare later in the month. We have a book club that has several interesting books that we're focused on this year. Now, this is, you're not your typical book club where you have to read the book before you come to the event. This is like, if you didn't read it, come to the event. So like some good cliff notes for you. We also have, if you're in the Arizona area, got a fantastic cul-de-sac tour coming up. So very innovative sustainable building practices going on in Arizona. We'll have a happy hour in April, and we have an executive leadership workshop coming up also in April. That's just a taste of what we've got planned for the whole year. WCS Talks is going to be in LA this year. So if you have some LA connections, you want to set us up with some people to talk to for that event, more than welcome to chat with you. And I think I'm going to hand it over. Oh, membership. Obviously, our bread and butter here is membership. We have individual membership opportunities as well as corporate membership opportunities. A couple of venture capital organizations are corporate members, and we thank you for supporting the organization. I'm not going to go through all the benefits, but if you're interested, take a picture of the QR code, reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through the process. Next slide. All right, thank you all.
Looks like that's it. Thanks, Lisa. So now let's go ahead and hear from Nancy, who's with the SBA, talking more about SBIR and STTR grants. As we get Nancy on, Nancy's actually pairing up too with Eileen, who will be talking about Department of Energy and the grants that they have there. So we're starting very early at the top. A lot of these are grants, they're non-dilutive. Again, this is going to progress from the non-dilutive stuff kind of down through venture capital and into financing.
Hi, I'm Nancy Kamei from the SBA. Sorry. The SBIR STTR program provides $4 billion of non-dilutive funding to thousands of companies each year. It's a phased program with escalating amounts available as grants or contracts. The program funds across the entire technology spectrum at 11 different federal agencies. Please sign up for our newsletter or visit our website to learn more. Today, we want to highlight one of those programs. So over to you, Eileen.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here and be speaking to you. DOE is one of the 11 agencies that has an SBIR program, and it also has an STTR program. And these are phase 1 and phase 2 non-dilutive grants. You don't have to pay the money back, and we don't take a piece of your company, and we don't take your intellectual property. It is a grant for an early stage feasibility study. The first phase is awards $200,000 to $250,000, in which you conduct a feasibility study of your idea over a 6 to 12 month period. The second phase, if phase 1 is successful, you're going to want to submit a phase 2 application, which provides $1.1 to $1.6 million for you to develop your technology further, create a prototype, demonstrate your technology, and pivot towards commercialization. The focus of the SBIR STTR program is to develop your technology. And in the DOE's case, we are looking for you to pivot to the private marketplace and sell your product commercially. I'm putting my information in the chat. Please reach out to me if you want more information. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and I would be happy to set up a quick one-on-one with you to give you more information. Thank you.
Thank you both. Jared, biomimicry. I'm a fangirl of biomimicry.org and just biomimicry in general. If you don't know the term, check it out. Jared, are you on?
I'm here. Thank you, Trisha.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Innovation at the Biomimicry Institute. And we focus on helping people take inventions and technologies inspired by nature and bringing them to life. We are a nonprofit, and we have 2 specific programs I want to talk to you about. But before I dive in, I just wanted to share our big why. And I like to use words from our founder, Janine Benyus, who says that a sustainable world already exists all around us in nature. We just have to learn how to learn from nature, not just learn about nature. So our programs, they allow us to support scientists and entrepreneurs like all of you who are bringing nature-inspired or bio-inspired solutions to life. Our first program I want to tell you about is called the Biomimicry Launchpad. This is for pre-venture stage, so idea stage people who want to bring to life new nature-inspired invention that they come up with. Typically, these are researchers, not always, but typically these are researchers who are interested in exploring a biological phenomenon and seeing how they can bring this out of the lab to market. And our goal would be to prepare you for SBIR funding, among other types of funding. The other program I want to tell you about is called the Ray of Hope Prize. This is a $100,000 prize competition. We're currently accepting applications now, and this is for seed stage companies. And one thing that makes this program unique is we like to say that this is something that pairs nicely with other accelerator programs. So unlike other accelerators, we don't focus on preparing you for funding. We really focus on science communication, sustainable business practices, and helping to introduce you to our network and expand your network in the process. So I'll leave that link to apply in the chat, and I'll also drop my email. And very nice to be here. Thanks, Trisha.
Thanks, Jared. All right, so recently I met Connie with Farmhand Ventures. Hi, Connie.
Hey, Trisha, thanks for having me here. I didn't even know about that Ray of Hope Prize, and like I'm already starting to email founders that I know to apply for it. So love that. I'm Connie Bowen. I am the founder and managing director of Farmhand Ventures. We are a venture studio backing founders, building companies, building the future of work in agriculture. So we've got kind of two components that I will spell out for you here. One is our venture studio. What does that actually mean? What do we actually do? So one, we launch companies. We build companies from scratch, using our team of entrepreneurs in residence, our partnerships with universities and kind of more technical PI founders, our internal team of engineers, and our deep relationships within the agricultural industry and ag commodity groups. We also assist external, very early stage pre-seed generally, though there are always exceptions. I try not to stick to any cookie cutter rules. We also assist existing companies, be that with engineering and production. We work with a lot of collaborative robotics companies, so hardware can get sticky. We also help a lot with access to growers and commodity groups, and in particular, with access to non-dilutive funding that various specific commodity groups often provide, though it's maybe not quite as clear and easy to find as the SBIR, STTR funding. So we help navigate that. We also help with all the usual kind of startup stuff, whether that's pitching, fundraising, emotional support, tough love, whatever that might be. What do I mean when I talk about the future of work in agriculture? At Farmhand Ventures, we believe that labor is the #1 barrier to diversifying and improving agricultural land use, which I think a bunch of other folks here probably are going to talk about the importance of sustainable and regenerative agriculture. Generally, all those practice changes, be that reducing chemical inputs, be that diversifying crops on a single tract of land, requires an increase in labor. At the same time, today, we already have a labor crisis, and macroeconomic trends mean that that is going to continue to worsen. So we focus on companies that center the people who do the work in order to address problems in agricultural systems. So if you're an early stage founder working to build solutions that center the farm workers or farmers or various folks along the chain on farm to enable changes on farm, talk to us. If you're fellow investors who want to back these early stage companies coming out of our studio, reach out. And then finally, we're constantly building companies and looking for early stage CEOs and executives to run them. So if that's you, please reach out. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Connie. I love this. Love it so much. So next up, we've got Laura with Lacey Incubator. Lacey's out of Los Angeles.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Laura Gonzalez. I am a senior program manager of the incubation department at Lacey. At Lacey, we are focusing on building an inclusive green economy with a special focus on Southern California. And we do this by focusing on 3 main priorities in clean tech, which is 1, transportation. So anything that has to do with transit and freight systems that are connected and shared and electric. We also, the second priority is clean energy. So anything that has to do with, renewable energies and systems of energy. And then the third one is smart, sustainable cities. And that includes circular economy, and water and waste systems. We have different programs, and we have 3 pillars that focus on founder facing programs, partnerships with different entities, and community engagement. But I want to focus more on the founder-facing programs to tell you a little bit about what we have. So we have 4 founder-facing programs at Lacey. A Founders Business Accelerator, which is a program that focuses on small businesses, and it's industry agnostic. So it's not specifically for clean tech. It's the only program that we have that is not specifically for clean tech. And then that program is for 6 months, and it's an accelerator. Our second program is the Innovators Program. That program is for clean tech, and it focuses heavily on energy and transportation. And it's a light touch program, in which, like, if people don't have if they're not too far along, or if they don't have a lot of time to focus on an incubator, this is a great option. And also, if you don't have a prototype, so if you're still on the prototype phase of your business, then this is a great program, because that's what we focus on creating the prototypes. And then we have our core incubation program, which is a 2-year program. It's for pre-seed and seed startups. And this one focuses on our 3 priorities of clean tech, energy, transportation, and circular economy. And it's a lot more hands-on program. This program has a curriculum for 6 months, and then it has you will get one-on-ones with a business coach. We call them EIRs, executives in residence, but they're very knowledgeable and very experienced business coaches that really help our startups and businesses. And then the 4th program that we have is the Market Access Program, and that is for Series A+ companies. And so when companies are ready to launch large scale pilots. In the incubation program, we start with pilots, but in a smaller scale than the Market Access Program. Besides the coaching and the curriculum, we also have business support services for our incubation companies, and then we have the network, and we have beautiful state-of-the-art facilities in the arts district of Los Angeles. So yeah, that's what I have. I'll put in the chat our website, and then if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Laura, so much. And to everybody, I saw some questions too. Remember, you're going to be getting this recording as well. I can see about collecting any slides to get those out, but you'll have access to the recording to see this, and then we'll get a one-on-one sign-up form to reconnect with folks here. So next up, as you can see, we have Austin out of New York. Hi, Austin.
Hey, sorry if I jumped the gun on that. Hey, everybody, I'm Austin. I'm the Acre portfolio lead here at the Urban Future Lab in Brooklyn, New York. At the Urban Future Lab, we have several climate tech programs. We have a few accelerators. One accelerator is focused on carbon tech companies called C2B. We have a program focused on offshore wind companies in partnership with Equinor. We have a program for green hydrogen startups called Elcha, a program where we help bring over climate tech startups from the UK called Innovate UK. We have an educational program called Clean Start for professionals trying to transition into climate. And then we have Acre, which is what I'm going to spend most of my time on. Acre is our core incubator at the Urban Future Lab. We have been around since 2009. It's the longest running climate tech incubator in New York City. We help startups with fundraising, securing commercial pilots, hiring, design. We have a full-time designer that helps our startups redesign decks, etc. Office space. We look for startups that are market ready, so some sort of proof that there's product market fit, but have raised less than $5 million in private funding. And we're a nonprofit, so we don't take equity. This is a quick snapshot of our portfolio. Some of our more well-known companies are Dandelion Energy, Opus One Solutions, Block Power, Air Company, and I saw Rachel from Wex Energy is on this call too, so she's part of our portfolio. We have incubated 70 companies to date. Collectively, they raised $1.65 billion, and they have close to a 90% survival rate. If you're interested in joining Acre, the fastest way to do that is to actually apply to our competition, which just launched today. It's called the Urban Future Prize competition. We'll be giving away 2 cash prizes of $50,000 and acceptance into the incubator. We also invite a lot of our finalists into the incubator. So yeah, and we're looking for startups across pretty much every sector within climate tech, and you can apply at urbanfuturecompetition.com. I'll also drop that in the chat. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Austin. Next up, Virtue Lab, Allison. Hi. Great to see you.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Trisha. Nice to see everyone. I'm Allison Arnold, coming to you from Seattle, where I work at Virtue Lab, a Pacific Northwest-based nonprofit, where I serve as Impact Investing Manager for our Climate Impact Fund. Since 2007, Virtue Lab's been on a mission to unleash innovation and entrepreneurship that will solve environmental challenges and catalyze shared economic prosperity. We approach our mission in a few ways. Virtue Lab connects promising companies with state and federal resources, such as the SBIR and STTR program grants just described. And Leon Wolf, who's in attendance, is your Virtue Lab go-to for that program. We also have an impact program that helps entrepreneurs forecast emissions reduction potential of their climate tech venture at scale. In addition, we run the Cascadia Clean Tech Accelerator Program in partnership with the Clean Tech Alliance, with applications currently open. And we have a new Frontline Impact Program to help the communities hit worse by the climate crisis identify and deploy the solutions they need. I'll close out with some additional information about our Climate Impact Fund. This is an impact-first fund that uses philanthropic capital to make venture-style investments in pre-seed and seed stage climate tech companies. We invest throughout the US and Canada, but intend to deploy at least half of the fund here in the Pacific Northwest. We also seek to invest in racially and gender diverse founding teams. We make initial investments of $200,000 with reserves for follow-on investments. We've invested in about a dozen companies out of this fund so far and are looking to invest in several more this year. If that's you, you can submit a simple application through our website. We've also just launched fundraising for our Climate Impact Fund 2, which will widen the investment aperture to include not just those companies seeking venture scale returns, but also smaller businesses focused on climate tech deployment. If you know foundations or individual donors who may be interested in participating in this fund, please reach out to me. And finally, if you're in Oregon or plan to be on April 27th, Virtue Lab invites you to attend our event called Badass Women Entrepreneurs in Portland. Thanks for your time and attention. Wish you well on your journey, and thanks for having me today.
Yes, thank you, Allison. And yeah, this will be the 6th year of the Badass Women Entrepreneurs event. I've been involved in that all those 6 years. So next up, Elemental. Aloha.
Aloha. I'm Dania. I'm the managing director of the portfolio at Elemental. We are on a mission to redesign the systems at the root of climate change. So to do that, we work with both entrepreneurs and community to address climate and social equity because we think the best solutions are the most equitable ones. So over the past 13 years, we've invested in over 150 portfolio companies that have gone on to raise over $7 billion in follow-on funding. We've celebrated 25 exits, and we've deployed over 80 demonstration projects. So each year we bring in 15 to 20 new companies and we support them in 2 key ways. First is to provide coaching-based work to help them refine their core strategy. And second is to help de-risk a first-of-a-kind project deployment with the potential to be transformative for the company and the planet. The investment is typically in the form of a SAFE. It's either 350,000 or 1 million, depending on what track you're in. Think of us more like a growth stage accelerator program. So we require 2 full-time employees at least. A working prototype out of the lab is some minimum requirements, but you can find more on our website. So what makes us different than your typical investor accelerator? I'll share some of the things that I'm most proud of that we've built. One is a vibrant community of entrepreneurs that are really dedicated to supporting each other along what we know are the peaks and the valleys of scaling a startup. As one of the first climate tech accelerators, we have a really large portfolio. Climate. Our commitment to social equity and policy engagement within our startups and with the climate ecosystem more broadly. And then lastly, our long-term dedication to the success of our startup. So we are always providing a sort of ever-evolving suite of services to support our companies years after their initial engagement with us. So if you're a climate tech entrepreneur looking to scale your company 10x in the next 2 to 3 years, and you're really committed to social impact, I'd love to meet you. Our applications are actually opening early next week. And they're open through May 31st. We shifted to a rolling application. So the sooner you apply, the more likely you are to get one of the slots in the next cohort. Thank you all for your time. I'll share our website in the chat.
Perfect. Next up, we're going to hear about Powerhouse Ventures.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Trisha and Women in Clean Tech and Sustainability. My name is Shondine Cedar, and I'm an associate here at Powerhouse Ventures. Also want to just generally thank the group here. I have a Women in Clean Tech Sustainability t-shirt from 6 years ago that I wear climbing in the Bay Area, and I always get people from the cohort coming up to me. So I just love the group, and just think this is really great. So Powerhouse Ventures, we are a climate tech fund investing exclusively at the pre-seed and seed stage. So we primarily focus on supporting founders building software to transform global energy and mobility systems. So in other words, early stage software that decarbonizes is within our purview. We launched our second $75 million fund last March. Check sizes range from 500K up to 2 million. We are open to leading, co-leading, and following. We pride ourselves on being highly collaborative on that front, and we invest globally. Just a quick note on our the scope of our LP base. LPs consist of 7 large corporates across energy, utilities, mobility, financial services, and tech, with a balance of LPs coming from several fund of funds, family offices, and individuals. Then we have primarily a majority women LP base, which is great, and most of them are industry leaders and clean tech veterans in the space. The last thing I'll mention about Powerhouse Ventures is that we are supported by Powerhouse, the innovation firm. They work directly with corporates and large energy and infrastructure providers in the space, providing startup scouting and innovation consulting. So they're the folks, if there's any What It Takes podcast fans, they're the folks that run the podcast. So we benefit from the brand and expert network that they have built over the past 10 years. It's really great to be here today. Please do reach out if you are a seed stage founder building software. I'll share my name and link in the chat now, and happy to pass it over to Ramsey.
All right, thanks so much. I have a slide to share here. All right, so hi everyone, I'm Ramsey Siegel at Earthshot Ventures, and we are an early stage climate tech VC fund, 95 million. We've made 19 investments. We cut about 1 check per month. We're climate generalists, so we work across energy, mobility, food and ag, and industry. As long as it's beneficial to the climate and or the environment, it's something that's in bounds for us. Our geography is global, but we tend to focus on North America, where our networks are the strongest. I'm proud to share that 47% of our founders are from underrepresented groups in venture, and 33% of our founders are female. And so I hear many of you are building businesses or thinking about building businesses, and I would love to chat with you. We're multi-stage, so we can be the first check-in, first institutional capital at the pre-seed, and we have made 3 investments at the Series B stage, so we're quite flexible on the funding stage as well. Our check size is $500,000 to $2.5 million on average, and we can lead or follow, take board seats or not. And so we're really a people first firm. We want to listen and learn from the founders what's most helpful and most important to what you're building, and can take a lead role or more of a supporting role depending on what's most helpful. The areas where we tend to help our companies most frequently are commercial introductions, because many of us have been in climate tech for 15 or 20 years, depending on the person that you're working with at our firm. And so we can make introductions to corporates and other investors, potential customers, hiring support, and we focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion there. So if a company is looking to fill a board seat or a key leadership team role, we can often support the sourcing effort and vetting candidates there. So many of you may have heard that about 2% of venture capital goes to female founders. And I think that's something that we can close in 1 generation, get closer to parity there. Very motivated to be part of that story and to be working with all of you on that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ramsey. It's been years. I feel like. Next up, we have Amanda with Ideaship Fund. We're office neighbors and our organizations are siblings. So thank you for joining, Amanda.
Awesome. Thanks, Trisha. Thanks so much for the invitation to be here, and great job posting. You look awesome in red. My name's Amanda Oborn. I'm the managing director of the Ideaship Fund. Ideaship is a strategic investor. We invest exclusively in startups that are developing novel intellectual property, and we help them basically lay a really strong patent and IP foundation that supports the business strategy and growth over time. So our investments are generally about $100,000 each. We have kind of a unique model that funding doesn't come in as operating capital. It gets deployed on behalf of building that foundation for the IP with the companies. So we use it to pay the subject matter experts and the patent agents and analysts and the patent counsel to really dial in the IP strategy for the company. And then we do, in cases where the company's doing well, we'll make follow-on investments in cash. So that first sort of $100,000 investment goes toward taking the founder team through an innovation harvest process, documenting an innovation catalog that basically becomes sort of the nuts and bolts of the patent application. We do a filing strategy roadmap for the company so that you know exactly what you're going to need to fundraise for over time to support the prosecution of the patent applications you've submitted, and what the sequences of claims and novelties should be, which is all patent geek speak, and I can explain any of that if folks have questions. We also do a patent market analysis. So we'll do sort of a landscape analysis across, looking from the patent perspective at what other companies are pulling patents in your area of innovation, which generally points toward potential acquirers. So it sort of gets the wheels turning on who else is pulling patents in that area and might be interested to acquire you specifically for your IP. And the last piece is a patent valuation. So we will also create a deck that you can share with future potential investors to substantiate the value of the intellectual property of the startup. So the whole point of all of that strategy work related to IP is to help you really own the business behind the business so that you can both have a moat and have protection. I think that's the way most people think of IP and patent strategies and filings. But really what we would love to see is to create a patent portfolio that really understands the business's growth plans and supports that and helps generate higher valuations throughout every step of the process at each financing and ultimately at exit. So that's what we're focused on. We're deploying our third fund right now. I will probably make 40 investments over the course of the next 18 months. So I'm excited to talk to all of you and happy to take questions. Happy to act as a resource to both the startup founders on the call today, but also other funds if you're curious about the IP process or diligence on companies you're looking at. We invest within the US and we invest in any sector that has the potential for utility patents. So that tends to be climate and clean tech, which is one we're heavily focused on from an impact perspective as well. But also hardware, medical device, biotech, any of these sectors where you tend to find that kind of patentability. So if you're interested, I will put my contact information in the chat. You can also find more information on our website and complete an intake form if you want to generate a response and a call. So ideashipfund.com. And thanks so much for your attention. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for the compliment on the red, and for those of you who commented on that in the chat. Trying a new power color other than black and gray. So I'd be curious, side conversation, since this is a networking group, post your power color in the chat. But next up, let's hear from Judy. Judy's with Energy Foundry. Hi, Judy.
Hey, everybody. I like red on you, Trisha, so that's my comment. But so I'm with Energy Foundry, and it's really nice to see some familiar faces, names, entities that we've worked with over the years. It's really a pleasure to be here. And so Energy Foundry, for those of you who are not familiar with us, is based in Chicago, but we invest broadly, mostly in North America, but we look at opportunities in Europe as well. And we really want to make some investments there too. But we've been investing in early stage climate and sustainability startups for nearly a decade. And we've always been and continue to be focused on the pre-seed, seed, and kind of earlier small Series A stage. We're equity investors, and a lot of the times we are building the first institutional round of capital that's coming in for a company, so the first equity round. But it doesn't always have to be the case, just depends on what's going on. And our initial capital was from actually two electric utilities. And so our network has been the strongest in the grid and power electricity space. However, over the years, we've expanded broadly from there to include looking at advanced materials, food and ag, circular economy. So we've really expanded across a lot of the technology verticals that one would consider in climate and sustainability. We typically invest about $500,000 to $1 million in our first investment into a company, and we are active partners. We're not like coming in here telling you what to do in your business on a day-to-day. That's your job, and we want you to do that. But we want to be kind of one of the first phone calls that you think of and want to call when you're encountering something new as you're scaling up, growing your team, trying to figure out the best approach with a new strategy or new opportunity. And so we bring a lot of experience supporting over 20 different companies in our 10-year history that have grown through these various stages of commercialization. And so, drawing on those experiences, the network we've built in those areas over time, we try to be as helpful as we can to the companies that we invest in. We are currently structured as an evergreen fund. So we have plenty of capital available because if you do an evergreen fund right, you make good investments and you get returns and it replenishes the fund. And so we've demonstrated success with our evergreen model. And so we have plenty of capital left to deploy in our current evergreen fund, but we're also building on that success and raising a new fund that's going to be 4 times larger, have a more traditional structure that you would expect of a venture fund, and still allow us to invest in companies at this early stage, but just accelerating the number of companies we can support and the ability to write slightly larger checks. So reach out if you're an early stage climate and sustainability founder,
Seed, pre-seed stage is great. It's not too early. It's usually not too early to chat because hopefully I can be helpful and provide some feedback on what milestones might be helpful before we can meaningfully engage. And also anybody who's presenting here today who otherwise supports startups in other ways. We have a strong preference towards partnership and collaboration, so would love to meet some of you as well.
Judy, thanks. And you bring up such a good point that I'm sure some of the other presenters are like, shoot, I should have maybe said that, but focusing in on the partnerships and being a partner. And so to founders and business leaders listening to that, that is a super great point when you are looking for partnerships and the funds and the investments. Pay attention to how they interact currently and with folks after investment or after a grant, because they'll help be able to open doors for you later on. And again, like Judy said, there's just other things that they could be kind of a sounding board for you as you go and as you journey through this. It's a long path for you. So thanks for bringing that up. Next up, we've got Phoebe. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Very nice meeting you. I'm also putting my name and my fund in here so that you can take a look and connect with me on LinkedIn. So I'm with Amazon's Climate Pledge Fund, and it's a $2 billion fund, primarily looking at sustainability and help not only Amazon, but also the Climate Pledge, which is over 400 signatories, including like HP, P&G, Unilever, etc., like from big corporations to small corporations, and help all these counterparties to reduce their carbon footprint. So we're relatively young. We have been around for 3 years and really have invested in over 20 companies. So we are stage agnostic. We support company from Series A all the way to pre-IPO and agnostic on whether we're leading or following. Just from my perspective, very excited to announce that. So November last year at COP27, we have publicly pledged that we're going to put $50 million in Female Founder, and it's the Female Founder Initiative is under my my lead, and we also collaborate with Climate Pledge at Amazon and also USAID for more grants for like project financing and support incubators, accelerators to support the females and close the gender gap. So really happy to be here. Saw a lot of familiar faces like Judy mentioned, and definitely reach out. And I have been in the climate tech space for as an investor for the past 10 years. And then before that, I was an engineer for several years. And you can imagine like how the landscape actually changed quite significantly. So it's definitely like a trending towards the right direction, but we have a long way to get there. So if you're a funder, you're like investor, if you need help or just want to bounce ideas off, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and happy to support you in different ways. Very nice to reach out. Thanks.
I met Phoebe years ago, and Phoebe, it's been great to see how you've grown yourself and having impact. So it's awesome to hear about this other opportunity that you're going to lead. Thank you, and that's awesome. All right,
thank you.
Next up, Pangea Ventures. We've got Sarah. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Green is my power color, but I also love the red. Pangea Ventures, we are a venture capital firm investing in hard tech companies. What that means is we're investing in companies that are leveraging advancements in material science, chemistry, and biology. We fundamentally believe that in order to solve some of the most pressing challenges facing the world today, whether that's a rapidly changing climate, changing weather patterns, disrupting food production and food security and human health, we need hard tech innovations in order to make that happen. Software really only gets us so far, and it is an important part of the solution. We invest in technologies enabling climate solutions, food and water security, human health, decarbonization, energy transition, circular economy, and decarbonizing food productions are all core themes. We are a Series A investor. What that means is we're looking to partner with companies that have exited the lab or at an advanced technology readiness level, have pilots ongoing or have just completed successful pilots with one or more customers, and have purchase orders in hand and are raising capital in order to scale that up. We've been investing for over 22 years in the hard tech space, currently on our 5th fund, working with a large number of corporate investors. Some of the world's largest chemical and industrial companies have backed one or more of our funds and have that extensive network that we bring to the table. We're writing first checks in the $4 to $5 million range with reserves for follow-on, typically in a lead or co-lead position, but happy to follow as well when there's strong partners around the table, especially if we've worked with them in the past. Maybe I'll just pause it there and look forward to connecting with anyone who wants to learn more about what we do, or if you think your venture is aligned with our mission, vision, and mandate. I'm always happy to connect, and I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah. And we'll go back. Zoe, I went right over the top, even though you popped up right in my face. And yeah, so anyway, let's hear from you about Avesta Fund. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Zoe Wells, and I'm an investment associate at Avesta Fund. We are a pre-seed and seed stage fund based in Denver, Colorado, who prioritizes diverse founders. And we invest in companies who are solving problems in the arena of climate change and/or inequality. Our goal is to be a bridge in a couple of different ways. So the first is being a bridge of capital between the accelerator stage and Series A. And the second is being a bridge between the impact world and the VC world, because we understand that they both continue to speak very different languages. So once we make an investment early on, we work hands-on with our founders to understand what is the impact that you are hoping to make and how does that measure and scale with the business model, so that you can start tracking your KPIs, write out a mission thesis, a commercial thesis, and an impact thesis. And then once you are ready for Series A, you have that mission thesis and data to back it up. And at that point, then we'll make curated introductions to those Series A investors who we think are mission aligned, so you can keep a mission aligned and diverse cap table. The fund is relatively new, but our partners have about 40 plus years of experience in the space. Our managing partner comes from Techstars, where he was on their follow-on investment team. He worked with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And before that, he was a 2-time founder, both with successful exits. Our general partner comes from Sonnen Impact Capital, so he's been doing impact at the private equity stage for quite some time. He also sits on the board of Acumen and IDEO, so he brings a great design thinking background. My background is in environmental engineering. I had a company in the regenerative agriculture space, and then most recently I was working with pipeline and sourcing at Techstars, and then managed a program out of the state of New York with Jackie Amable called Venture for Climate Tech. That's sponsored by New York State. It's a great early stage program that I recommend. It is our goal to lead with founder empathy and champion each of our founders on their mission to commercial and impact success. It's a $20 million fund, and our average check size range anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000. To date, we've made about 25 investments, and 80% of the portfolio are diverse founders. And then this year, we're hoping to make another 25 investments. So I really look forward to connecting with each of you. We're actively sourcing now, as well as the speakers today. It's so great to be part of this ecosystem.
Thank you. All right, next up, we're going to hear from Prime Coalition. Margaret, welcome
Thanks,
to the
Trisha.
spotlight.
Yeah, I love the spotlight. So happy to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Margaret Lee. I'm on the partnerships team at Prime Coalition. We're a nonprofit that works with philanthropists and other mission-driven investors and organizations to invest in neglected climate ventures. So the way that works is our investment criteria are focused on 3 things. We have climate impact. We look for the gigaton scale climate impact. Prime developed the Crane tool, if you're familiar with that. That's an open access tool focused on emissions reduction potential assessment. Our second investment criteria is around additionality. So because we're using catalytic capital or philanthropic capital in pair with follow-on financing, we are able to invest in higher risk, earlier stage, and neglected climate impact, neglected climate ventures. So additionality for us is constantly evolving, but it focuses on, would this investment be made but for Prime or another philanthropically motivated investor? And then our third investment criteria is around follow-on financing. So wanting to make sure that there's a bridge to somewhere. We've worked with many of the folks in this space before on that. I'm talking a lot about our catalytic investing program, which we put under our steering capital strategy. I do also want to touch on two other aspects of our work, which are in impact accountability and learning and leadership. So impact accountability, we have the community called Project Frame. That's a group of 600 different individuals, 300 plus organizations that are focused on assessing the impact of the investments that they're making today and addressing the climate impact of tomorrow. For those of you in that space, you understand how complicated and dense that is. So this is a community space for folks who are looking to understand that more. And then learning and leadership, we're really focused on looking at catalytic capital more broadly. I did also want to say, we're talking about the gap here in our catalytic investing practice between philanthropy and venture capital. We are also looking downstream of that at project finance. So the gap between venture and project finance, that's something that we're working on actively through our early climate infrastructure program. And all of our work is that's all of the what, and our how is really relational, really focused on the neglected climate ventures and working with folks who have been underrepresented. So I just wanted to name that and lift that up too. We're hiring a ton. If you know folks who are interested in the space, I'll put some links in the chat, and it's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And hang in there, folks. We got a few more people to go. Next up, we've got Missa. Hi. Beautiful window space there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, hey everyone, great to meet you all. I'll try to zip through because I know we're running up against the hour, but Missa Sanjamino Ludwig from the Anton Infrastructure Fund, Anton Infrastructure Partners at the Next Gen Fund. So Anton's historically a Paris and London based infrastructure private equity fund, but we've been had our headquarters here in New York for I think about 5 years. Have about 30 billion euro in AUM and invest in infrastructure. So we define infrastructure broadly as meeting kind of our 5-point test. So being an essential service, having high barriers to entry, potential to generate long-term stable cash flows, strong downside protections, and inflation linkage. So in our flagship infrastructure strategy, this has been a lot of things like solar developers, we know district energy business, even assets like healthcare infra and digital infrastructure. But the team I'm a part of is the Next Gen Infrastructure Fund. So it's a new strategy that's designed to address what we believe is really a gap in the market. So looking to invest in companies that are building out this next generation of infrastructure, companies that are innovating towards an infrastructure model but need really a growth partner to support the de-risking story towards that model, either from a technology perspective or a commercial or business model de-risking, things like that. So not so much looking for a specific stage. We can fund in kind of the series A, B, C, all the way up to kind of pre-IPO stage, but we're really looking for companies that are looking to grow out and build that infrastructure model. So equity check size is in kind of the 50 to 200 million range over time. So we have flexibility to start kind of much smaller, but want to be able to deploy that amount of capital over time, and have also ability to go beyond that range with co-investment and things like that. So examples of investments we've made would be, we own 2 EV charging companies in Europe. We own 2 smart grid companies, recently acquired a company called, or invested in a company called PearlX here in the US. We're very active in all the sectors you guys are familiar with, CCUS, hydrogen, RNG, even things like IoT that enable smart infra and efficiency, vertical farming, so all these key sectors. So what we're not is a VC fund, so we don't take binary technology risks, so we can fund the scale up, but it needs to be kind of commercially proven technology. We're also control oriented, so majority or critical minority, but we won't be a deep minority, for example. But what we're really good at is helping businesses grow and funding growth in businesses that want to be long-term asset owners and operators. So particularly, founders who have a vision for creating an infra company. We're good at scaling and helping support companies go to market. So we're very happy to provide funding, balance sheet capital, or asset co funding to fund CapEx for asset developments, and also have a lot of skill providing equity, but also helping companies raise attractive financing. So debt or tax equity, and then also good at helping companies with inorganic growth. If that's something where management's aligned, we're particularly skillful at. We've done, I think, 30 investments and over 200 add-on acquisitions. So a good niche for us as well. So please definitely reach out. We'd love to chat. For anyone in the WCS universe in general, love to connect. But also if you're at a stage where you're looking for this type of capital, or even if you're not quite at the stage, but you're working towards an infra model, would love to connect and be a resource either now or down the line.
Thank you so much for telling us more about what you're working. I was interested in hearing more actually about you guys. So, all right, next up, we're going to hear about Third Sphere. Shilpi, hi.
Hi. Okay, I hope you can all hear me. We're gonna start. I'm actually gonna share some slides really quick. I know we only have a couple of minutes. My hope is that by showing you some of our portfolio, I can use less words. So we've been investing for about 10 years in pre-seed and seed. We were originally called Urban Us and ran the Urban X Accelerator for about 5 years in coordination with BMW. So we've worked with really early stage teams. One of our kind of growth and going from Urban Us to Third Sphere was expanding beyond cities as the only scope for investment. So want to make really clear that we're looking at ocean stuff, we're looking at nature-based solutions, we're looking at freight and logistics. My background's in industrial and made kind of a big push for us to expand the scope of climate solutions and impacts that we're looking at. Want to make a quick plug for my team, Lee and Sean on the venture side. As they've been building this fund for the last 10 years, they've really pulled together an amazing ecosystem and community. The number one feedback I get when we're raising from LPs is that they're way too humble. So if you're looking for some, non-asshole venture investors to be in your early stage camp, like this is the team to do it. In addition to venture, which I think we're at the bottom of the list here because we've actually also launched a credit fund in the last 3 years. So our credit fund and our platform, in addition to our boutique platform, is looking at asset. I have a slide on this, but asset-based, equipment-based, and contract-based financing. So this isn't venture debt. This is being able to look at your company from the beginning and figure out what you actually need equity for. So we're often partnering with early stage founders, like actually breaking down their model and trying to understand what parts of it they need venture funding for and what could actually be bankable, and giving the early stage debt and opportunities to make debt more accessible earlier stage. So we work with pre-seed teams on like 200 to 500K checks on debt, and then those are like on 1 to 3 to 5 year terms, and then we can scale up from there. On the equity side, I think I missed this, but we write 100K to $1 million checks. We really believe in syndicates at pre-seed and seed, and love working with a lot of the folks on this call. One big push I want to say is that my whole background is in hardware, and we're huge hardware investors, especially early stage hardware, looking at everything from consumer devices to first plants, and looking at how we think through what the scale up of a hardware journey looks like, commercialization timelines, all of that. About 60% of our portfolio has some hardware, and that's always growing if I have anything to do with it. We really care about diversity. We kind of have broken apart ESG and look at what a pre-seed team needs to have like the most healthy foundation. And it's something that we really care about and want to be strong partners when we're part of that advisory. I think the last thing here is that we're not really into carbon as the only revenue models. Something that we've been pretty vocal about is looking at industry transitions and how we can build revenue and business models that are not just based on specifically voluntary markets, but also kind of looking for more tangible outcomes and business value. And I think that's my time, but really great to be here. Thanks for fitting me in.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right. And for those of you in Canada, we had a couple handfuls. And so we have Peter that's going to talk to us about Royal Bank of Canada, RBC.
Good day. Thanks very much for the introduction. My favorite color of canoe, just to give a Canadian flavor to it, is a red canoe.
Oh, hey.
It is a pleasure to attend the Women in Clean Tech and Sustainability Reverse Pitch competition today. I am VP National Clean Tech Lead at RBCX, Royal Bank of Canada, or RBC's Tech Banking and Innovation arm. I'm also chair of the Ontario Clean Technology Industry Association, and I'm on the board of the Canada Clean Tech Alliance. But overriding sort of all of that, I'm a lifetime environmentalist. At RBCX, we provide a wide range of banking solutions from credit cards to venture debt, but much more through our capital, platform, and ventures teams. We have a group of 10 clean tech specialists coast to coast in Canada, partnering with 200 clean technology companies and a variety of clean tech ecosystem participants and partners. And I've heard lots about partnering today. The challenges that face our planet need clean technology solutions. Experts say 50% of those solutions exist, but 50% of the solutions remain to be developed. To come up with creative solutions that are needed, we need a diversity of perspectives, expertise, and skill sets. For 5 years now, we have worked with what is now called the RBC Women in Clean Tech program at the Mars Discovery District Accelerator in Toronto. It's been our pleasure to partner with 26 capable, driven, creative, resourceful female clean tech entrepreneurs, and I'm thrilled there's similar people on the line today. We've seen the power of the sisterhood and are very impressed and want to do more to help women-led clean tech companies to succeed. We offer debt. We also act as a limited partner and have committed capital to 5 clean tech venture funds in North America. But most importantly, I think it is our offering to act as a partner for our clients and as a connector in the clean tech ecosystem, whether it's to professionals, angels, VCs, non-dilutive government grant providers, or incubators like the ones on the call today. The journey here can be confusing, and we are there to help. We work with companies from ideation to scaling and going public. Our footprint today is in Canada. We would love to connect through today's organizers at the Women in Clean Tech Sustainability Program, and we'd be glad to connect with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for being here, Peter, and bringing up the back of the train here. So, all right, thanks for hanging in there, everybody. All right, so we will get you saw hopefully in the chat, there's the form that you can send me. That will get me who you want to actually meet with. I'll go ahead and curate those relationships for you. That we'll send it out again in a couple of days once we have the recording all together. So as soon as we can get that done, we'll get an email out to you with that and the form again. Thank you to our sponsor, Paige. Thanks again from Sea Change.
Thank you.
And again, check out WCS. Let's see, what else? I will hang out here for a little bit if there's any questions, but thanks to the WCS event committee here, Joey, that has been helping me design this all this time, Kirpa, who's been driving, Stephanie, thank you, Anna, Lisa, awesome. So, all right, I think that's it. I'll hang out. Everybody have a fantastic day.